What's up, guys? So today I'm a little bit confused. This is definitely a first for me. I think it's fair to say I've handled a few knives in my time, but this is the first time that I've ever seen a copy of a knife that was better than the original. Now, in this particular case, it's a copy of a copy, so I don't know if that counts. Anyway, let's get into it. So this is the BYRD versus BYRD. On the right here, we have a BYRD Meadowlark 2. Awesome knife. Been a huge fan of the BYRD series. BYRD spelled B-Y-R-D. If you're not familiar, BYRD, spelled with a Y, is Spyderco's, cheaper line, basically. Spyderco is very smart in doing this. So they have the affordable line, air quotes there. That's very subjective, what's affordable or not. But basically, they're knives that are made in China, made overseas. They separated the brand. So there's no Spyderco knives made in China. There's BYRD, B-Y-R-D. So they carry over a lot of, similar traits and so forth, but it's the budget-friendly line. Okay, so that's number one. If you didn't happen to know that, BYRD, they make awesome knives. And if you're a Spyderco fan, it's just a cheaper Spyderco, essentially. Cheaper steel, cheaper material, and of course, made overseas. Now this one, this Meadowlark 2, is pretty much a copy of the Spyderco Delica, okay, which is the smaller version. Obviously, people know about the Endura, which is a larger version. So this is kind of like their take on it, right? So essentially, this is a cheap copy of a Spyderco, but it's made by Spyderco, so that's all good and everything, right? Here we have a Firebird, B-I-R-D, which is made by Ganzo, okay? A lot of people are familiar with the Chinese company Ganzo. And this is a copy of this copy. It's kind of strange. But in carrying and using both these knives over the last probably, I want to say 2 months, 3 months, mostly around the house, neither one of these knives got a lot of EDC or pocket time. It's mostly just testing directly next to each other with some cardboard, plastic jugs. I give Gus spring water. I just prefer to do so, so I have a lot of plastic jugs that I end up cutting down for recycling. And, this one actually performed just a little bit better. It does have a better steel. The Ganzo Firebird, okay, specifically it's the model 759M, I believe. All right, so if you're looking for that one, you can find it. This one has a 440C stainless, all right? It is marked on the blade. All right, so let's zoom in here, take a look at the markings. Firebird knife made by Ganzo. There it is, F759M, 440C. Okay, the other side we have the Firebird logo. All right, and on this BYRD, you can see the steel is an 8CR13 MOV. The other side just says China. So, yeah, nothing wrong with 8CR13 MOV. And I've always pushed this knife because I thought it was a really good one. As far as, budget-friendly knife, I love the design. Overall, it's very grippy, very comfortable. So, pretty strong lockback. Never had issues with any of the BYRD line of knives. This knife sells for $24. All right, now that's pretty consistent with a lot of knife dealers. And you're going to find these at knife dealers. You're not going to find the Ganzos at a lot of the major knife retailers because they just don't carry them because they make a lot of copies. So there's a little political conflict going on there. So you're not going to find counterfeits or copies on reputable dealer sites. So this is the option if you're buying legit, let's say, right? These you find on Amazon. Now that's where the price comes in at $18. Now, hold on a second. I'm not done because I know you have something to say if you know a little bit about this. So making it very simple, knife dealers, Amazon, about $24. Knife dealers, Amazon, about $18, $19. So it's $5 cheaper with a little bit of a steel upgrade. But wait, there's more. If you have a little bit extra time to wait for these Ganzo Firebird knives are on pretty much all those international Chinese sites, okay? And their price on those are usually about $9, maybe $10. So now we're looking at less than half the price. That makes a huge difference. Now, of course, most people don't want to wait, 2 months or whatever shipping happens to be on some of these sites. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes they have warehouses in the US, so shipping really isn't that long. It doesn't really make much difference as far as ordering, in the US, but from my experience, at least half the time it's coming direct from China. You're waiting 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, to get your stuff. But some people don't care because it's that much cheaper. So I'm gonna go somewhere in between, okay? Because not everyone's gonna get this knife for $9, although you can. That would be less than half the price of this with a better steel. All right, basically the same design, which we'll talk about in a second here. But, you know, if you want it tomorrow, you can get them on Amazon for about $18. Even then, $18, $19, $5 or $6 cheaper. So it's still cheaper with a slightly better blade steel, okay? So either way, any way you cut it here, no pun intended, I think it's a slightly better version than the original, which of course, again, is a copy of the Delica. So looking at these knives together, they're the same size, they have the same style. Now most people, if you just pick both these up, particularly if they're the same color, you probably only say, well, there's only one difference, the opening hole. The opening hole is different. Well, there's actually a couple different physical differences, but the first and most important thing I think is the opening hole is different. On the Ganzo, you have an oval hole, okay, which works totally fine. It's not uncomfortable at all. However, directly compared to the BYRD model, this is more comfortable, okay? Essentially, even though this has a teardrop shape, which, by the way, is supposed to look like a bird, like a vulture's head or something like that, like the eyeball and the beak, get it? But anyway, if you cover the bottom, guess what we have? We just have a standard circle hole, right? The Spidey hole. That's what your finger's touching. When you're using your thumb to open this, you're pushing the top, you're not pushing the bottom, all right? So just at a quick glance, a quick feel, it's just like a regular Spyderco. It does have a slightly more comfortable opening method, but really it's kind of nitpicking here. Another difference is the texture, okay? You can see on, let me zoom in for this, on the BYRD model, all right, and while we're zoomed in, you can see the middle there, BYRD Meadowlark 2, in case you forgot what it was. Same style, they have a center plate here or whatever, but in this case it just says Firebird. So the texturing on this is angled in this direction and angled in this direction. So when you're pulling down on this, it's very grippy, or if you're pushing up on it, it's also very grippy. Okay, just like a lot of the Spyderco models. Speaking of which, this has a pattern, but this is actually mimicking the real Spyderco grip pattern, the volcano pattern. All right, with the kind of square with the dot in the middle. All right, so this is what you'd find on a regular Delica or Endura. Okay, so they both serve the same purpose, but in this particular case, they are slightly different looking. All right, and the last thing is the buoyed dent that's in here. Okay, so we have a lockback, right? And there's a little crescent shape, which is supposed to make it more comfortable. In this case, it's, you know, basically circular. It makes it a little bit more comfortable to push in on that lockback, right? Lock bar. In this case, it's not circular. It really just kind of like angles in and it's flat and then angles back out. And you could feel that. When unlocking, you could feel the differences. This one's actually just a little bit more comfortable. Okay, this one seems to be a little bit on the unfinished or sharp side. These edges are quite sharp. In fact, you can strike a ferro rod on here very easily. Okay, like a real 90-degree edge right there. Whereas this one, whether it's on purpose or not, is just not as sharp. And that little, you know, indent just feels a little more comfortable. All right, so those are kind of the physical differences between them. And then obviously the blade steel difference. Again, the Firebird here by Ganzo has the 440C stainless, and the BYRD has the 8CR13 MOV. Looking at the back of the knives, you can see they have identical pocket clips. I wouldn't be surprised if it was literally the same pocket clips from the same place in China. All right, now this is an aside, and I've had a lot of conversations with people about this before, because there's, you know, there's nice knives that are made in China, there's cheap knives that are made in China, there's counterfeits that are made in China. Now, I don't know for sure, but I don't think there's like 5,000 different, you know, manufacturers in China making knives. I'm sure there's plenty, but I don't think it's as many as people might assume that there is. What I've heard many times, and some reliable sources, is that like some of these places, these, you know, plants that where they're producing knives, like during the day, they might be making really nice high-end cutlery. And then the same exact manufacturer, the same warehouse and the same plant, during the night, someone else might come in and use the facility to make counterfeits. It might even be the same people. Who knows? I don't live in China, never checked it out in person myself, but I've heard that before. I've heard some things, you know. But I'm just going to say, regardless of whether it's shady or not, these are the same pocket clips, and they just have to be from the same source, in my opinion. All right, the hardware looks the same. Obviously, the design on both of these is the same, where the lanyard hole goes through that pocket clip. All right, it's kind of an hourglass shape. So I'm just thinking it's coming from the same place. But yeah, I mean, what makes this interesting is, again, this is the first time where I've experienced the knockoff. Now, this is not a counterfeit. They did do minor changes, okay? I guess it's changed enough so that it avoids a lawsuit, I suppose. But clearly they're copying. And we know Ganzo in the past, they made tons of different knife models that are literally just copying other knives. Sometimes they'll take like two different things. They'll have like a Spyderco design, but with a fake access lock in it, you know, like combining popular things. Because that's what China does. China copies a lot of stuff. From what I understand is, hey, if something works and people like it, that's why they're copying it. They may see it a little bit differently. Some of them might, some of them might not. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but obviously we know that they copy a lot of stuff, okay? Whether it's, you know, to be flattering, like, hey, nice design, we're going to try that too, or whether it's just outright stealing it. That doesn't make a difference. The fact is they copy a lot of stuff. So in this case, we have a copy, not a counterfeit, very different things. These don't have fake markings. It's its own company. But yeah, I mean, it's a copy. It's still stealing the design, right? I don't think there's any argument on that. It's too close. It's close enough in every respect that these little tiny changes, I don't think, makes it a different knife. But hey, I mean, that again, could be opinion. Anyway, the point I think I wanted to get across in this video is this is the first time that a copy of a knife I actually prefer just a little bit more. That 440C does hold a better edge than the 8CR13 MOV. And I do like the extra comfort in the design on the cutout for the lockback or lock bar. The only thing this has over that one is, again, the shape of the opening hole. Okay, still feels very familiar, like a regular Spyderco. All right, they both have the same tension as well with that lock bar. It's not like this one's stiff and the other one's looser. I mean, it literally, side by side, they feel the same. Same tension. All right, they both lock up totally fine. There's no blade play in either one of these. I will point out as well is that the Ganzo is offered in a bunch of colors. You know, blue, green, gray, pink, I mean, you name it. There's a bunch out there. There's even a black one that has a partially serrated blade. All right, so there's more options as well. It's cheaper, a little bit better steel. You know, I can give up the extra comfort in the opening hole for the price tag that you can get these things at. So it certainly is an interesting topic to talk about here. And again, you know, it's just hard because politics, they always pop up. Look at the thing that happened with Benchmade. There was a political thing that happened, and a lot of people don't buy Benchmades anymore because of it. People draw lines in the sand, and they have very black and white views, and I respect everyone's opinion. An opinion can't really be wrong. I may disagree with it, but it doesn't make me right. It just means I think differently, or I have different priorities. So I'll put it to you this way, which might be even more confusing to you. If you are all about the deal, and you don't care where things are made, and you just want to have a good knife at a good price, this is the better choice between the two. But if you're that all-American guy, you're in America, you support American companies, American jobs, and want to keep American economy going, you might want this one. Wrong again. So you got an awesome American company, right? Spyderco. By the way, family-orientated. You got a father and son working together, put out some really awesome USA-made cutlery. However, on the side, they're making more money by supporting China and importing these knives to sell to people cheaper in the US who don't have the money to buy their American-made knives. So again, once you start involving politics and I won't support this and I won't support that, your options really go down. I like this knife, I like this knife, I like Spyderco, I like the Delica. I think the Delica is the best of all of them, of course. But guess what? If you're going to be that person that's going to go all American, you're going to pay a little extra money for that. You might not always get the deal, but if you feel good about yourself, that's cool too. There's no wrong decision here. I'm not saying buying this one is the right choice or buying this one's the right choice or buying the all-American made one's the right choice. I wish that all you guys do whatever you want with your hard-earned money. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. All I do on YouTube is share my own experiences and give the information that I've learned, you know, as well as learn from you guys. You guys teach me stuff all the time. And again, the original purpose of this video is because I was surprised. I was surprised that the much cheaper knockoff version was better. I never see that. So times are certainly changing. I hope this is not a, I don't know, a glimpse into the future. You know what I mean? The cheaper knockoff versions are supposed to be less quality. That's what makes it worth getting the expensive ones, because you're getting better performance for your money. So you guys let me know down in the comment section if you have either one of these knives or if you happen to EDC the Delica, which both of these are inspiring to be. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.